Hey, it's Williee Armellini from Flowers and Scents with your floral industry buzz. Okay, today I'm going to interview Kristin Gilliland of Gardens America. And I know this company forever. It's one of the companies I knew when I first moved to Miami, and so I have a long history with this company. And I'm going to try not to do all the talking, but I'll let Kristin do her share of the talking and tell us about what a cool company that Gardens is. So without further ado, Kristin Gilliland. All right, Miss Kristin Gilliland, how are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm looking forward to this because when this opportunity came up, Saheed suggested I would interview you. I said, you know what? I know so much about this company. It goes all the way back to my early days in the business. When I first
Yeah,
moved to Miami in '78, your mom and Peggy and John were already at it, and my memory is a little shaky in that at some point along the line, we handled your boxes. I don't remember exactly where, but somewhere along the line, um, at Flower Service or something, I think we handled your boxes. So I knew a lot about and knew a lot about John and Peggy because I talked to them all the time. And Colleen was already there when I guess I entered the business in Miami.
that's
And
back when you were still William.
that's when that's when I was. Actually, it was Billy. I think back all the way back to then. My dad used to introduce me as Billy, but here we are, and Gardens always had something interesting because Gardens was always the only company that I ever dealt with that was pretty much standing order only. In the beginning, that was it. Everything came in pre-labeled. There was everything knew where to go. So actually, it made it a fairly easy account to handle because everything was labeled already. There was no
Hmm.
inventory such as everybody else did in Miami, carrying inventory. So your predecessors, you being third generation, now that was their gig. Is that still the gig? You still, is it still like that?
Standing orders are still 50% of our business,
Really?
which I think is pretty unheard of
I
in our
think so.
industry. Yeah,
Huh. And okay, so in the very beginning, it was all about Jardines de los Andes and Gardens America, all right? So your main
correct.
supplier, only supplier, I think, originally was the
Hmm.
Herreras, Bernardo and Camilo, I guess, right?
Yes.
Um, and so that was the very tight relationship between Gardens and Gardens, and it went like that for. Who else is asking to be entered here? It says admit
Oh, it's probably a note taker of mine who likes to follow me like a stalker. So just decline it.
Oh, I already say, let me unapprove it. How about that? Okay, we're back. Um, yeah, so that was the original setup. Looking briefly at the website for Jardines de los Andes, I don't see Gardens America listed as a representative anymore. Are they no longer a supplier?
No, they're still a supplier. They are. However, they purchased an importer in Miami. They purchased Miraflor.
Miraflor, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So they probably have more alignment with them on their website. But yes, we are still a client.
okay, I thought so. Okay, well that's good to hear because that was always the relationship. Um, and so then Colleen took over, and her and I had we had lots of fun over the years because she's a nice lady and was not too crazy stressful lady. She was always fairly easygoing, and we got through things when needed to get through them. Um,
Yep, that's
and
been our
and
philosophy.
yeah, and now she's knitting up in the Carolinas or something, right? Or
I'm
crocheting.
actually at her home right now. Yeah, she lives here in Blowing Rock, North Carolina. She had a knee replacement surgery 2 weeks ago. So I've
Oh, that's
been
why you're
I've
there, right?
been Nurse Kristen. I've been here. She's doing great though. She really is.
Well, she's a tough lady, so I have no doubt that she's doing fine. And then somewhere along the line, I think your mother said to you, "You need to find a job in the flower business." And lo and behold, you showed up at my door and became, I don't know, my assistant, or I don't think I had a secretary per se, but anyway, you worked there at any rate. And one day
Yeah,
I
I
happened,
came in the billing department and then got moved over to become a administrative assistant for David, and then I think you floated in and out of Miami, but mainly my go-to person there was David and Carl.
And Carl, right.
Yeah.
But somewhere along the line, I asked you to make tea for me, and you came back and said, no.
Well, you actually, I think you asked for coffee
Oh,
because I was thinking about this. I was in college at the time. I think I was maybe 19 years
yeah,
old
you were,
working there.
yeah,
And you said something about coffee. I didn't drink coffee.
you didn't know
I
about
didn't
coffee.
know how to make coffee. Um, and I remember your dad's assistant in Palm City. Her name was
Toddy,
Toddy Brennan.
Toddy Brennan.
Toddy Brennan. And she told me to call her anytime. So I call her up and I'm like, the boys are up. She's like, you tell those boys to get up and make it their darn selves. They're too
And
spoiled. And so I think I pretty much said that to
I
you
think you
at
said that to
19
me,
years
and I
old.
said, oh, okay. I guess I'll go get my own. It was a weird time in that respect. Hey, so here we are, many, many generations, well, 3 generations later, perhaps, and you are now in charge of the whole thing, and you've sort of changed it. Well, I don't know if you changed it, but it's been changed a lot now. Looking at your website, you represent a lot of different farms and also product lines now.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, really, we wanted to become a one stop shop for our customers. We wanted to be able to offer them anything that they could possibly need. And also, I think it gives us a lot of flexibility by not just being tied to one product line or one farm, that if there's some kind of volatility at the farm or with that product line, there's always something else, that can be sold. I think you shouldn't, in any part of your life, you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah,
Um,
we've seen how
and so
that has
you've got to
worked
be
out.
diversified. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Camilo, who's our buyer, has worked really hard to introduce new growers and new products, and it's been really exciting. I mean, my sales team is always excited about what's the next thing he's going to bring on, and
And you got him to
it
sit
keeps
still
it
for a
fun.
picture. You got him to sit still for a picture in your website, which is good.
I did.
You must have, you must have told, you must have lied to him and say we weren't doing pictures today because he's very picture adverse, as we know.
he's
Um,
uh he's undercover, I think.
well, every time I show up with my camera, he starts hiding, so it's all right. Um, and moving forward, okay, so now you're running the whole company, 3rd generation, and in '68, I believe, which is the first shipment in May of '68.
60 May of 69.
69. Yeah, well,
69, yeah.
you were certainly one of the first. I go back, according to my book, 61 was the first shipment, which actually was out of Ecuador from Sikh.
Hmm.
Um, it was actually before Colombia. Colombia seems to be 65, 66.
Mid to late 60s, yeah. Edgar Wells had a big hand in that.
Big, big time, yeah.
Hmm.
Mr. Cheevers and Mr. Edgar Wells and all those people that are sort of, oh my, the pioneers, that means the mailman's here. Hey, okay, we got to keep the dogs calm here. All right, so looking forward now, is there a fourth generation? You got any kids?
I do. I have 2 sons. My oldest is going to be 25. Um, he expressed a little bit of interest in the business, came with me to a few shows, and his dream is to be a firefighter. So he's just finishing up his paramedic program. But, he's considering, as a firefighter, you've got some flexibility, to potentially have 2 careers. So he may dabble in it a little bit. I'm not pushing. My youngest is finishing his freshman year in college. He's got more of a business minded sense, but he's very interested in just doing things with his hands, construction. He works on a horse farm. He's very much a cowboy. So, but I think about myself at 19, and I never imagined I'd be in the business.
Yeah.
So you just never know. You never know. It's there for them if they're interested. If they're not, Camilo's offered to let me adopt him. He said he could take it over. But I'm like, you're just a little bit younger than me. We're going to both be at the old folks' home together. So,
Yeah, well, that's what's becoming, everybody says, you're going to next gen. I said, I don't know if they'll let me in anymore. But
They will. They will. They like mentors there. Because at first I was afraid. I thought, they're going to ask for my birth certificate and they're going to see, I'm slightly over 45 or whatever their age limit is. And they said, no, we like to have other people there as mentors for the young people coming in.
Okay.
So it's a great program to support. I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorites.
Huh. Well, good to know. I've been to one, and I do like them. I love the new energy, and
Hmm.
there's yeah, young people, and they're so enthusiastic about the business, and I love it. I love it because that's what you and I, and the industry are facing. Aging people are aging out, which is one of the reasons I like to do this show, so I can capture people that you're not ready yet, but anyway, as people age out, it's important, I think, anyway, to get their thoughts and their face on something online, and that's what I try to do here. And
Yeah. I mean, I still think of myself as a 20 something newbie in the industry and going to the events and seeing all these people that I looked up to. And it's hard over the years to see them retire or go to heaven or wherever it is that they may want to go. Um, I've always kind of thought of the industry as my extended family. And, over the years, you see less and less of the familiar faces, but it's really exciting to see new people with new energy and new blood. And, just between you and me, not the good old boys society, that it used to be 100 years ago. It's nice to see some young people and
yes,
diversity and females and everything.
I was recently visiting Charles Crimp from Crimp Florist, and we were, just chatting like two old guys, and about, the good old days, if you will, when it was this family and that family and this family that ran the business, and
Hmm.
I miss those old days. And I said, after being to a next gen, the names have changed, perhaps. The people have changed.
Hmm.
But it's still there. I feel it. I can,
Hmm.
it's just different. It's not three or four families that sort of controlled everything. Now it's, maybe 100. I don't know, but it's a different situation. But there are still families, generations in the business that are continuing and growing. I like it.
Yeah. I love to see it. I love to see the innovation. I mean, I love to see the growth of technology in the industry, how far things have come. It's exciting. I mean, I remember when I was first, I wasn't even working for the company because at one point it ran out of my grandmother's house. So, like over the summers, mom would drag me to work with her, and they had a room in the house just for the computer that they had because it made such loud noises. And it was like
Oh,
this big drum with these big discs that they'd have to put in, or cards that they would have to feed, or heck, even before that, the telex machine that
mm,
my grandfather used to use to send the orders. And I'm thinking, man, we have come a long way.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I started
yeah.
in telex machines, and the thing would be banging, and the bell would be ringing, and somebody in South America was pushing a button.
Uh-huh. And the
Remember
ticker
that?
tape's coming out.
Yeah, things are coming out. Did you get the order? I don't know. I don't know. The paper all over the floor. Uh, yeah, the fax machines, they were fun too. And I love it when I go to the doctor's office now and they say, "Can you fax that over?" And I'm like, "Who faxes anymore? Nobody faxes."
Well, that was my first job at Armellini
Just
in the
fax.
billing department. I had to man, I don't know, it had to have been 20 different fax machines because that's how all the shippers would
Oh,
send over their bill of lading
yeah.
before you. I was there when you were first starting the EDI and you were testing it with a few companies. Um, oh my gosh, cutoff time would get crazy in there. I felt like Jane Fonda in 9 to 5 with the papers coming. I was running to all the machines trying to gather all the paperwork and everything. And now look at you guys,
Yeah.
EDI and barcode and
Barcode scanning, yeah. I'll give my brothers credit. Well, it was time. Technology was, you know, chasing us, but we finally had to catch up, and
hmm.
yeah, made a big difference because the the days of managing bills and stuff and trying to keep track of it. The Armellini cutoff time was always a famous, a dreaded time, and I
It
went.
felt like tax season every day.
Yeah, I had so many fights. I remember one time I cut off Sunburst, and I was
Uh-oh.
Mike Felcher and AB came looking for me. They were hunting me. I was hiding in the cooler. I don't, I don't really want to see these guys. But anyway, that was then. And all right, so going forward here, wholesaling's changing. We're getting more consolidation and consolidation.
Mhm.
It's sort of hard to keep up with, frankly.
It is. Every day I get a new letter about someone who's being purchased or closed or um, I tell my team, I said, you just never know what we're going to wake up to every day. We just have to be prepared and double down on what we do well and continue to serve our clients well. And then look for new opportunities. We can no longer be 100% wholesale as that wholesale market shrinks. But what we try to do is be very strategic if we have a wholesaler in the area and work with them. But if there's an area where we don't have one, we can work with some larger retailers
Yeah.
or event planners or things.
Well,
We all have to stay viable.
you have to stay viable, and
Hmm.
yes, these days you have to draw the lines. I mean, we faced that at Armellini. Armellini was sort of the de facto. If you got an Armellini account, I'll sell you. But if you
Yes.
don't, we can't. And
Hmm.
we had some retailers that were bigger than the wholesalers, and we couldn't service them without
Hmm.
pissing off all our wholesalers. So,
Hmm.
but sometimes that comes back to haunt you, and so maybe you take the account or you don't take the account. Maybe you took a better account and lost a good one. So right now, my family's challenge is every time Delaware Valley buys one, they lose the account, because they put them on their own trucks, and
Heard.
you know, you've been there.
They
And
buy them and then they cancel their
yeah,
standing orders. So
or
yeah.
Elite buys the farm, and then then something else changes. So
Hmm.
all that we've got consolidation coming on from both angles. I have been spending a lot more time in the retail arena, just because that's one of the areas I know the least, and I do like the excitement there. Going to
It is exciting.
Yeah, AFID shows are just, man, they're off the chart. They're
Hmm.
a serious whole week of adventure. And the floral demonstrations and the pomp and circumstance and the
Hmm.
theatricals, I love it. It's really,
Yeah, it's nice to see the end result of what we're all working towards in the industry. I mean, we may see boxes moving through the system, but really what we're doing is we're providing a product to people, to artists, and we're helping support anything in life, right? From a celebration of a birth to celebrating the end of a life, um, artwork. I mean, flowers just bring so much joy to people. And I think we need to keep our eye on the ball and not just be thinking about the doldrums of, tariffs and different things like that, but think about what we're all contributing and what a beautiful product that we have to sell and how much joy it brings people. So whenever I'm feeling a little bit, I don't know, not down, but maybe just frustrated, I love to go to events like that and kind of I say it's like getting a shot of B12.
yeah,
You just get a little energy. You see people excited about the product. You realize that you're making a difference and it leaves you a little bit more inspired and ready to face the doldrums of fuel surcharges and other things that we
yeah,
deal with day in and day out.
minimum wages and all that sort of fun stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, after going to those events, I said, how many different ways can you put flowers in a vase or arrange them? And
Hmm.
I thought after 100 years, there can't be any more. But I was proven wrong just by
Hmm.
sitting in one of those classes and watching. Oh, wow, look at that! Who would have thought of doing
Yeah.
that? So
I'm
yeah,
excited to see the work that they're doing at that flower feeling,
yeah,
just trying to make flowers a part of everyday life, not just thinking of it as, for big events like weddings or funerals or gift giving, but just to make it part of life like it is in Europe.
indeed. And we have perhaps the benefit of having flowers around us, so we can have flowers. Get some growers to send me boxes, and we put them throughout the house. All my neighbors are happy because, oh, you're really in the flower business. I said, yeah. And true to my book, everybody says flowers. They come from where? Where'd you get these flowers from?
Oh, I found them in the backyard.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of the backyard, there are a number. I was happy to see there's still flowers grown in Vineland where I grew up. Some of the
Hmm.
old farmers that I grew up with, their sons or grandsons are now running the flower farms, which is really interesting to see a bit of a resurgence. I just posted that the Kitiyamas are trying to sell their farm out in California because they closed that farm, but they're saying, hey, America or South America, why spend more money down in South America? Grow flowers here. There's no tariffs. So there may be something to all that. I don't know. I hope they sell it, and I'm really happy when more flowers are grown in America. That makes sense. But we know why they grow flowers in South America because of the weather and the climate and the water and the
Mhm.
labor and everything that made it work in the first place. So,
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. And, we have such an issue here with getting people who would want to work at a flower farm in the United States.
yeah,
And the cost of labor and the cost of energy. I mean, the poor people, all those growers in California have suffered so much. It's it's not a business for the faint of heart.
no, and
You gotta have thick skin.
yeah, yeah, indeed. You have to have thick skin. You got to be resilient. You got to be flexible. And like you say, every morning you walk into this and you got to figure out what's going to happen today. Was there going to be an earthquake or a volcano or
A
something?
strike or something,
Strike.
the airport gets closed down. But I'll tell you, that's one thing about our industry. I mean, I think we are darn resilient. We are scrappy people and we know how to get things done.
Yeah, I think COVID proved that. I mean, we
Hmm.
all bent over backwards and tried to do things we didn't ever think we could do. And are you mostly remote, or you have an office in Miami still? Or?
No, no, we are 100. We have our warehouse,
Okay,
but no, we are 100% remote. We did it. We did it before COVID, so
okay,
we were on the front end of it.
okay. Well, you were already there when it happened, so you didn't have to
I was
adapt.
all ready.
Yeah. Hey, well, look, this has been fun. 20 minutes goes really fast, as I always know, and I don't like to make them longer than that because people won't listen. So, but I'm
I agree.
delighted we had this opportunity to chat and to relive some of this history because it's precious and it's all we have when it's all said and done. So, I
It
do
is.
appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you around because I will.
And I wanted to say, I really enjoyed your performance at the Bloom Together party. I have seen little snippets of your musical talents, but man, you were just cranking on that harmonica. That was so much fun.
That was fun, and I'm going to do it at Sun and Fun, or Fun and Sun, out in California, in Pasadena. And there, we actually they hire a band, and I have several people from the industry get up and play. So we have a little industry band that's backed up by a really nice band, and I will be playing and singing and carrying on there for Fun and Sun. So hope you're there.
Well, I'm working on very minimal piano lessons. So maybe in 10 years, I could play
Oh,
in your band.
hey, well, you got to start somewhere. I started on piano, so I enjoy it, and I hope you continue to do it because music is good for the ears. So,
It's good for the soul, makes you feel good.
indeed. All right, Miss Kristen, thank you very much, and this has been fun. And I'll publish this on Tuesday. So, see you later.
All right. Thanks,
Bye.
Willie. Nice to
My,
talk to you.
my pleasure. Bye now.